My name is Mike Nierychlo, sharing my love for people, wine, food, and all things made passionately. So today's show, I've got Jeff Bashford with me. As you just saw, Firefly Vintage Wines and Ales. So Jeff is the manager. Thanks for coming, Jeff.
Pleased to be here.
There you go. Manager of the Cambie store, Cambie and 12th, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just off 12th.
Perfect. Firefly's a great store. We'll talk a little bit more of that later. But Jeff, what got you into wine? You've got a unique accent to you.
Yeah, I'm from Sydney, so I grew up about an hour outside of Sydney in a little town called Avalon, which is it's like right on the beach, an hour north of Sydney. It's pretty awesome place to grow up, for sure.
Oh yeah, you can't complain about that.
Super lucky. No, I can't afford to live there now. Is the real problem.
Oh well. So you came to Vancouver. It's cheaper to live in Vancouver. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, equally as bad.
There you go.
Equally as bad.
There you go.
Yeah, I studied business, and when I first started studying, I just worked in this wine store part time, and it was actually really cool. They put me through a bunch of like wine appreciation stuff. They had an in-house guy who did all that, and he was pretty inspirational. And by the time I finished my studies, it was like this wine thing's a lot of fun, and more fun than accounting or whatever. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get a drink, you're on the job. It's all right.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's how it all began, and I did a bit of travel after that, and saw some wine regions, which was cool, and just sort of been working in the industry since then. Yeah.
For sure, Jeff's a face you'll see around Vancouver a fair amount. Like you said, managing Firefly Wines and Ales, but he runs a couple other wine groups, YVR, things like that.
Yep.
Where you hang out, chat about wines, just have a good time, very educational, things like that. So, what got you on at Firefly?
I used to work for a company called Farmstead Wines,
okay,
which I think we'll chat a little bit about.
For sure.
I got one of the wines here. But Firefly was great to us. They stocked a bunch of our wines, and when I left there, Bruno, who's the director of retail for Firefly and looks after all the stores, just sort of offered me a position. It was really awesome because they've expanded a little bit, and they've got a new, for want of a better word, like tasting room, and so he brought me on to do a bit of wine buying, but also run a bunch of events in that room, which is cool and is a lot of fun as well. So yeah.
Well, that's one really cool thing on the Firefly website. I don't know if it's on the website or just the newsletter, but there's
on the website now.
Yeah, the website now. Yeah. There's all kinds of really cool educational events if you want to learn about wines of the world, and great examples of those wines that can be purchased at Firefly. Jeff, as long as I guess the rest of the staff, you guys host a lot of neat tastings.
Yeah. Like I do a lot of them myself, but we've got a bunch of big geeks in the store and some people who've been working with BC Wine a lot longer, so they'll help out and run some of the
it's great educational stuff if you want to learn about the wine world. And the other thing with Firefly, and I mentioned this before with Ileana, she's from the Maple Ridge store, but the beer selection at Firefly is outstanding. Yeah, it's people walk in the cellar and whoa! Yeah. Like, there's a lot of beer.
Yeah, I'm much more of a wine person, but since I've been there, I've been exposed to some of the sour beers and that from Belgium.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So you brought some wines, some examples of what Firefly has.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Let's start with the first one.
Okay, so this is one of the Farmstead wines.
Yeah. Tell us about Farmstead.
Okay, so it was started from. Do you want to rinse that out? Or?
Yeah, I think we'll get a quick rinse for sure.
It was started by a guy called Anthony Nierychlo.
Yeah.
And he is from. I don't know if he's from Chicago originally, but was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And working as a chef. And he went over to Italy to learn about like charcuterie and cheese and all this kind of stuff, and was staying with a family called the Finocchios, who also make some wine in Piedmont. And it just really embodied everything that he believed about food, in that there were these people who doing everything by hand, no formal training, no herbicides, pesticides, any of that kind of stuff, and really making really honest wines. And Anthony sort of thought, there's not a lot of those wines around in North America, so he started a company that specializes in finding these small people who are always the farmer as well as the winemaker, so they're not buying fruit from around the place, and they're all organic or biodynamically farmed. But really, it comes down to the wines are just all really, really delicious.
Yeah, like good quality wine.
Because of the presence in the vineyard and because they're doing it all by hand, it's like the wines are the best.
Yeah. Falls under the category of all things made passionately.
Totally, yeah. It's exactly what you preach here on this show for sure. Like that's what it's all about, and the wines are good.
There you go. That always helps. So if you're really, like you said, Farmstead. You'll notice on the label here, you'll see the Farmstead stamp. That's them bringing the wines in, and sharing really nice products.
It's really common in the States for people to know an importer, and once you realize that importer's got a similar palate to you, or brings in wines that you like, or has a philosophical idea that you support, like you seek out that importer. And I don't know if people do that in Canada so much.
No, not yet, but it's probably starting to get.
Yeah, I think you should. So Anthony's trying to make it easy by putting that sticker right on the front there. So if you try one and like it, just keep an eye out for the sticker.
Well, regardless, the sticker's a quality stamp too. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us about this one.
Marc Tompe is really awesome. He sort of embodies everything that I really like about wine. He's got a bunch of really small plots around Alsace, and sort of handles those plots separately. But he's got a house in Zellenberg, and in the cellar there's like all the oaks are 120 years old, and there's mold growing everywhere, and it's underneath his house, and I think they're all 3,000 litre oak, and it's stuck down there. And he basically just picks the grapes, throws them in there, and walks away, and the wine makes itself. That's great. So all native yeasts, super long macerations, super long fermentations, and he sort of ends up releasing the wines much later than everyone. But I think you end up with something that like all his wines could last.
Yeah, you need a character.
Yeah,
for sure.
20 years, 50 years, they're just totally indestructible.
Well, you can sense all those things on the nose of this wine. Like it's got that little bit of a hint of funk, but it's got so much deep minerality to it, and like. The mouthfeel of this wine is just like, it's refreshing, but it's so like, I don't know, every part of my palate is just happy right now.
Yeah.
I want some food, I want some cheese or something like that to go with this, but it's excellent, well-made wine. This is their Pinot Gris, right?
It's Pinot Gris, it's from 2003, so that's super hot year. Like in France particularly, a bunch of people died because more elderly people. So that's like
whatever.
It's not really funny, right? But yeah, like really, really hot year, and that's something I love about Marc Tompe's wines too. Like it's unmistakably from a very warm vintage. Like there's not as much acid as in some of his other wines, and it's very unctuous, but. He doesn't make an attempt to try and correct that. It's kind of like that's what happened that year. So the wine should reflect.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it tastes like it's very terroir driven. It tastes like it's just got recognizable character to it, for sure.
And really old world in that it's all about the texture and the mouthfeel and the weight.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it's an 03, I mean, 7 years old. It's just holding itself beautifully. Like it's just a nice drinking wine. So what else do you bring for us?
So This is another really neat wine. This is from a different importer, but again, like I was saying, someone who I think is doing a really good job, called That's Life Gourmet. And they too have a number of smaller, more naturally farmed wines, which I think is really cool.
This one you say is a Cab Franc?
Coming from Saumur in the Loire Valley.
The nose on this is so interesting. It's like just like smoky meat and like jumping jalapeno peppers and crazy food friendly.
Yeah, really neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother spitting that one. One thing I like about this more old world style of making wine is the mouthfeel. It's not goopy, it's not jammy, it's like fresh and clean and I don't know, it makes you crave more. It's savory. It's almost got kind of a brininess to it that just makes you want some cured meat or something to go with it.
Yeah, I find it really lean and savory. And
yeah,
tons of acid, and I think like people talk about the barbecue wines or the summer wines. Like I think this is where it's at. Like it's that beautiful fresh acidity. It's not heavy. Really, really good for pairing with those kind of summer dishes too. And yeah, it's a winner for sure.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming out, Jeff. I appreciate you having by today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, so
Thanks
make sure,
for having me.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, Cambion 12th in Vancouver. Make sure you pop by Firefly Wine. Say hi to Jeff, the rest of the staff there.
And you got to sign up for our newsletter or check out the events page.
What's the website for Firefly?
It is fireflyfinewinesandales.com.
I'll have the link below the video for you as well, so you can click on it.
And you're going to link up Anthony's site as well.
Farmstead.
But I wanted to throw in, we call our events La Table Commune, and they're really tastings that are along what we just talked about, where it's like only 12 of us there.
Yeah.
We have a bit of food, we open some wines, they're very unpretentious, and the idea is just kind of make a few new friends and get introduced to some new wines. Yeah,
exactly. Just hang out, enjoy people with a similar, something that they're similarly into, and everybody just has a good time. Cool.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you on the next episode.